Chapter 1, The First Glimpse. The air in the university's aquatic center hung thick with the scent of chlorine and anticipation. Chloe, with her bright, intelligent eyes and a smile that could disarm anyone, sat poised behind the reception desk. She was usually unflappable, handling everything from locker assignments to swim class registrations with effortless charm. But today, a ripple of something new crossed her composure as the next candidate for the lifeguard test approached. He was all lean muscle and confident strides, dripping slightly from a pre-test warm-up swim. Liam, a star athlete on the university's water polo team, was undeniably handsome, with sun-kissed hair and eyes the color of the deep end of the pool. Their gazes met as he handed over his ID, and a silent spark ignited, brief but undeniable. Chloe felt a blush rise, quickly covered by her professional demeanor. Liam, for his part, offered a polite, almost shy smile, a surprising contrast to his athletic build. He collected his test instructions, their fingers brushing for a fleeting moment, sending a jolt through them both. Chapter 2, Liam, of course, aced the lifeguard test. Soon, he was a regular fixture, his whistle a familiar sound by the pool. Chloe continued her work at reception, her days marked by the steady hum of activity, and the occasional, increasingly welcome, presence of Liam. Their interaction started small, almost imperceptible. A shared glance when a particularly boisterous group of kids cannonballed into the shallow end, a brief, knowing smile when a new swimmer struggled with their kickboard. Liam would occasionally lean on the reception counter after his shift, ostensibly to sign out, but lingering just a few moments longer than necessary, asking Chloe about her day. And his gaze often drifting to Chloe's bright, focused eyes. Chloe, in turn, found herself subtly tidying her desk when she saw him approaching, perhaps straightening a stack of forms or rearranging pens, her movements betraying a quiet anticipation. These small moments, however, began to build a foundation of comfortable familiarity. Then came the unexpected encounter. One breezy Tuesday afternoon, Liam, heading to the campus gym, found himself passing the English department building. Through an open window, he heard a voice, clear and articulate, passionately dissecting a passage from a classic novel. Curious, he peered into the seminar room and saw Chloe, not the charmingly efficient receptionist he knew, but a different, utterly captivating version. She was animated, her hand gestures punctuating her points, her eyes alight with intellectual fire as she debated with a professor about the nuances of existentialism in Camus. Liam, mesmerized, stood rooted to the spot, listening as Chloe spoke with an intensity and eloquence he hadn't imagined. When the discussion ended and students began to filter out, Chloe emerged, still buzzing with the conversation. She spotted Liam, his expression a mix of surprise and admiration, and a faint blush rose to her cheeks. The professional barrier they maintained at the aquatic center melted away. "Liam? What are you doing here?" she asked, a soft laugh escaping her. "Just passing by," he managed, feeling a bit foolish but completely captivated. "I didn't know you were into that. You were incredible in there." Chloe's smile softened, revealing a touch of genuine pleasure. "It's my passion, really. Literature. Bit different from chlorine and swimming laps, I suppose." "It's intriguing," Liam said, the word feeling inadequate for the profound shift in his perception. He saw her now not just as the beautiful girl at the desk, but as someone with a vibrant, complex inner world. From that day forward, their interactions at the aquatic center took on a new depth. Their casual chats during quiet shifts evolved beyond work topics. Liam would subtly steer conversations towards literature, asking about her favorite authors or current essays. Chloe, in turn, found herself asking about his training, not just out of politeness, but out of genuine curiosity about the dedication she now understood he possessed for his own passion. He'd occasionally bring her a specific type of herbal tea she mentioned she liked for late-night studying, and she'd leave him a new article she'd printed out about sports psychology, knowing his interest in the mental game. This shared understanding, sparked by that glimpse into each other's contrasting worlds, began to weave a deeper, more personal connection between them, quietly drawing them closer with each passing day. Chapter 3, A New Contender and Diverted Focus. Their burgeoning connection, while delightful, began to encounter an unexpected ripple, not from internal strife or differing life paths, but from the sudden arrival of a charming presence amidst Liam's escalating demands. The Aquatic Center, always a hub of activity, saw the return of Ethan, a former university swim team captain and a popular alumnus, now pursuing a master's degree in sports management. Ethan was undeniably charismatic, with an easy laugh and an air of effortless confidence. He decided to volunteer at the center, helping with various administrative tasks and occasionally assisting with swim lessons, quickly becoming a familiar face. Ethan gravitated towards the reception desk, genuinely friendly and helpful. He'd often engage Chloe in long, animated conversations about university life, shared academic experiences. He'd also taken a few literature courses, or even just light-hearted banter about the quirks of the Aquatic Center. He was attentive, remembering small details Chloe mentioned and often bringing her a campus coffee on his way in, a gesture that subtly echoed Liam's own quiet acts of consideration. He genuinely admired Chloe's efficiency and bright personality, making no secret of his enjoyment of her company. Meanwhile, Liam's world was consumed by his water polo training. With regional championships looming, Coach Miller was pushing the team to their absolute limits. Liam's days became a relentless cycle of early morning pool sessions, intense strength training, film study, and strategy meetings. He was physically and mentally exhausted, often leaving him with little energy or mental bandwidth for anything else. When he wasn't in the pool, he was trying to catch up on sleep or academics, and his usual moments of lingering by Chloe's desk became shorter, more infrequent. He'd flash her a tired smile, perhaps a quick hey, before rushing off, genuinely too drained to engage in the longer, more personal chats they'd grown accustomed to. His messages to her became terse, sometimes single-word replies, not out of disinterest, but sheer fatigue. Observing these two converging dynamics, a subtle strain began to form. Liam, from his lifeguard stand, saw Ethan's easy charm and the way Chloe's laughter seemed to carry a little louder when he was around. He felt a pang of possessiveness, coupled with a deep frustration that his demanding schedule prevented him from being the one consistently engaging Chloe. He knew his lack of attention wasn't intentional, but the timing, with Ethan's attentive presence, couldn't have been worse. Chloe, for her part, noticed Liam's increasing distance and exhaustion. She understood, intellectually, the demands of athletic training, but emotionally, it felt like a retreat. When Ethan arrived with a coffee and an engaging story, it filled a void that Liam, through no fault of his own, was leaving. She was genuinely flattered by Ethan's attention and enjoyed his engaging company, completely oblivious to the competitive tension that was brewing or how her casual friendliness might be perceived by a weary Liam. This new dynamic created a quiet, aching distance. Liam felt the need to stake his claim but was too tired to do so effectively, often coming across as distant or even a little terse, which only confused Chloe further. The comfortable rhythm Liam and Chloe had found was now disrupted by this third, well-meaning party and the crushing weight of Liam's commitments, forcing both to navigate unspoken feelings and the complexities of burgeoning romance in a more public and challenging light, all while battling their own fatigue and misunderstanding. Chapter 4: The Unspoken Divide. The university's annual Aquatic Center staff social was approaching, usually a relaxed affair, but this year it hummed with unspoken tension. Liam, caught in a grueling training schedule and increasingly self-conscious about Ethan's proximity to Chloe, found himself withdrawing further. He'd intended to ask Chloe to the social, but the words kept catching in his throat, lost amidst his exhaustion and a growing insecurity. His fatigue made him less articulate, and his efforts to subtly mark his territory often came off as distant or even irritable. He was too drained to fight for her attention, and too proud to admit his unspoken fears. Chloe, noticing Liam's increasing unavailability and the terse nature of his brief interactions, felt a quiet ache of confusion. She saw Ethan's consistent charm and attentiveness, the easy conversations that flowed, and contrasted it with Liam's new, distant demeanor. She misinterpreted Liam's silence as disinterest, his exhaustion as a lack of desire to connect. When Ethan, sensing an opportunity and genuinely enjoying her company, confidently asked Chloe to the social, she hesitated for only a moment before accepting, a quiet disappointment settling in her heart that Liam hadn't asked. The night of the social was a blur of polite smiles and strained conversations for Liam. He watched from across the room as Chloe laughed with Ethan, a pang of regret and frustration twisting in his gut. Chloe, meanwhile, found herself constantly glancing Liam's way, a part of her wishing he'd bridge the gap, even as she maintained a cheerful front with Ethan. The comfortable bond they had built seemed to unravel, replaced by misunderstandings and unspoken words. The evening ended with them both feeling a profound sense of loss and disconnection. Chapter 5, A Crisis and a Clarity. The true test of their connection arrived unexpectedly during a late-night shift, a rare occasion when only Liam, Chloe, and a skeleton crew were present. A university-wide system glitch caused a partial power outage, plunging the aquatic center into a dim, eerie silence. More critically, the pool's circulation system flickered, threatening the water quality and the delicate chemical balance. Panic began to set in among the remaining staff. The emergency protocols were complex, and the pressure mounted. Liam, despite his exhaustion, snapped into his lifeguard training. He moved with swift, decisive action, assessing the filtration system, his voice clear and commanding as he directed the emergency lights and secured the area. He barked orders, his athletic discipline taking over. Chloe, initially startled, quickly mirrored his resolve. Her organizational prowess kicked in. She was the one who knew exactly where the backup chemical logs were, who had the emergency contact numbers for the facilities manager on speed dial, and who could calmly guide the remaining staff through the intricate reporting procedures, even in the dim light. She kept communication lines open, a steadying force in the chaos. In the midst of the crisis, their individual strengths shone, not in opposition, but in powerful synergy. Liam's immediate, physical problem-solving perfectly complemented Chloe's meticulous, calm organizational skills. There was no room for miscommunication or unspoken doubts. They worked as a seamless team, their eyes meeting frequently, a silent understanding passing between them, a resurgence of the deep connection they once shared. They saw each other not as the distant athlete or the busy academic, but as capable, indispensable partners. As the power flickered back on and the circulation hummed back to life, the immediate danger passed. Exhausted but exhilarated, they leaned against the reception desk. Liam, finally, looked at Chloe, his eyes clear of fatigue and apprehension. "We make a good team, Chloe," he said, his voice quiet but earnest. "We do," she replied, a soft smile gracing her lips, always. Chapter 6, Laying It All Bare. The crisis became their turning point. The following day, Liam, emboldened by their shared experience, sought Chloe out. He found her restocking towels, and he took a deep breath. "Chloe," he began, "I need to apologize. I've been an idiot. With training, and Coach Miller breathing down my neck, I've been completely out of it. And when Ethan showed up, and you were laughing with him, I got my head all messed up. I know I've been distant, and it wasn't fair to you. I really like you, Chloe. More than I probably let on, and seeing you with Ethan, it just made me realize how much I screwed up by not making that clear." Chloe listened, a mix of surprise and relief washing over her. "Liam," she started, I thought you weren't interested anymore. You seemed so busy, so far away. And yes, Ethan is nice, but I was wondering where you went." She paused, then met his gaze directly. "I like you too, Liam. A lot. And I missed you." Liam stepped closer, the unspoken words finally finding their voice. "I want to be better about this. I want to tell you how I feel, and I want to work through the crazy schedules, the coach, everything. Just us." "Us," Chloe echoed, a genuine smile returning to her face. "Sounds good to me." Their confession was a floodgate, washing away the misunderstandings. They talked for hours about Liam's training pressures, Chloe's concerns about his perceived distance, and the innocent role Ethan had played in stirring up their unspoken feelings. They acknowledged the challenges but committed to communicating openly from now on, promising not to let external pressures or unspoken fears create wedges between them. Liam even had a brief, frank conversation with Ethan, who, realizing the situation, offered a sincere apology and stepped back gracefully. Chapter 7, Clear Waters Ahead. Their bond, tested by external pressures and internal insecurities, emerged stronger and deeper. Liam learned to carve out dedicated time for Chloe, even if it was just a quick, focused call between practices or a shared meal in the dining hall. He started sharing more about the demands of his training, allowing her to understand his world better. Chloe, in turn, learned to appreciate the discipline and drive that defined Liam, and she found new ways to support him, leaving encouraging notes or making sure he had a healthy snack waiting after a brutal practice. She knew his exhaustion wasn't disinterest, and he understood her laughter with others wasn't a sign of disloyalty. Coach Miller remained demanding, but Liam found a new confidence in setting boundaries, asserting that a balanced mind led to a better athlete. He still gave his all to the team, but he also prioritized his connection with Chloe, knowing that her presence in his life grounded him. Their shared experience during the power outage became a touchstone, a reminder that they were a formidable team, capable of handling anything together. Finally, Chloe and Liam, together, walking away from the aquatics center after a long shift. The setting sun casts long shadows, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, reflecting off the glass of the center like a warm promise. They're planning a quiet evening together, perhaps to read a new book Chloe recommended, or watch a documentary Liam found fascinating. They're laughing, their conversation easy and open, punctuated by comfortable silences. The journey had its ripples and challenges, but they'd navigated them together, emerging with a love that was not only beside the pool but woven into the very fabric of their lives, strong, resilient, and deeply happy.